All right. Now we're in.
So is it weird that I'm the only one wearing headphones?
No, it's fine.
No.
I mean, you look like an idiot, but...
Who cares?
I don't.
So I
that
think
mustache.
I figured since we get this question asked sometimes directly to us often, but like
How often?
not that often, but often enough to make me think about it, and then it gets asked on those pages that we're on.
Can I put a disclaimer out there? Of all the pages that are in the outdoor world, if you're going to ask us
We're the last people to ask.
what you should be doing for filming your hunts,
We're the last people you should be.
well,
asking.
you're just really hoping for a reply at that point.
So we're doing a
Beginners.
beginner's guide to filming your hunts from beginners, because we're beginners.
That's my list.
Oh, you got questions.
Just some talking
okay.
points.
So
Shit.
so basically,
Sorry, I'm dirty because I was not able to prepare for this because I was working a side job today
because we can't afford.
because we don't have any sponsors.
So
Not to be confused with pro staff.
we have a lot of that.
Hey, we'll give you some deer piss if you want to come be on our.
You are kind of dirty.
I am dirty, real dirty. I was doing concrete anyway. Sorry.
I remember when you ran it in your 56.
Yeah, me too.
It's cool.
They stretched yesterday. I saw a video of it. Anyway,
Anyway, what are we doing?
We're doing a beginner's guide to filming your hunt from beginners.
Okay,
Because we're amateurs at best.
perfect.
But we do have a little bit of insight. We've been doing it for a year and a half, and we're still learning.
The thing that's cool about us doing this is that we are doing it in our own pocket. So
oh yeah.
it's I mean,
So it's kind of like a slow roll, like it's a snowball.
we've done this as
building.
slow as as cheap as we possibly could.
Well, yeah, you want to talk about like the beginner's guide and out of your own pocket, just a working class way of doing it.
Mm-hmm.
This is it.
Yeah.
I mean,
so,
you're not going to get. I mean,
So if
we're all
you're-
firemen.
which I mean, most people that ask that question, we've had a few people send it in to the Instagram direct message or whatever, and then on that
Yeah.
Nexus page, whatever, they've had guys ask, and that's who's asking. Those are
Right.
the people who are asking.
Yeah, we've all been that person. I've
Right.
been that guy.
I mean, when you guys talked to me about getting into this a year and a half ago, I was like, yeah, cool, I got a GoPro.
When I went and worked for Brackett in Chip City, I was basically treated as an ape who knew absolutely nothing about anything.
So a little
You
bit of
probably were, I'm
oh
assuming.
god, yeah.
a little
Yeah.
bit of background, just to give you our backgrounds. Nico actually was a cameraman for a TV show, Fear No Evil. Can we say that? We can say that.
Yeah, why not? I'm on the credits. I have a picture of it.
So Nico actually has worked in the industry as a real cameraman, a real live cameraman. People wanted his autograph and everything.
Oh, I signed him.
And John is a sound and audio guy.
And we're gonna put it like an asterisk next to this too. So anyway, go on.
John's a genius with sound. He knows all kinds of sound shit, and he's got that all down pat because
He
of
knows
his
tech
side
stuff in
job that
general.
he's done for quite a while.
I worked at AV Squared, which is a audio-visual rental company, for like 15 years.
Yeah.
And so I've been running sound for bands and big. Oh, there he is, Nico Tanti.
Huh?
I've been running sound for bands and whatnot for about 15 years, sound and lights. But so I'm gonna put my disclaimer out there now, because when motherfuckers are listening to this podcast, they're like, "Why does it sound like shit? He's not very good at his job."
Oh, again, we have cheap
Number
shit.
one, the microphone that is currently hooked up to me is the same one that we use in our field, same one that we're going to use for whatever.
Porn.
It was $41 on Amazon. Okay? So
That's
there
cheap.
you go.
But it gets the job done.
what we're
You
getting
hear
at
us.
is
You're
garbage.
listening.
Right.
And you hear it.
These guys
Shut
have
up.
a little bit better mics, and you could probably tell the difference.
It's
and
better
this is
than-
actually pretty cool, because now we can do like a real-time thing. What we've got going on. We can even go to camera, and I'll show you what I got.
Well, it's better, and it's better than well, our first podcast we used real microphones because we were at your shop.
Our first podcast was sweet.
Yeah, that was sweet. But then from there on,
Our ice fishing podcast
That was
too.
sweet,
I
too.
had
Very
two microphones that are about $1,400 a
my
piece,
favorite ones.
or three of them. I had three ULX
yeah.
But
Ds.
we're filming hunts.
And
So
I had
let's
QSC
we're not going to
technique.
even talk about talking about podcasting.
But it's all audio, and don't call me a genius and then be like, this guy's
He's a
podcast
genius.
is terrible.
My background is nothing. I knew nothing about nothing, and I had a helmet camera video that went viral. So
Here's where Scott's expertise comes into play. He Googles and reviews the shit out of everything he touches.
And
So if it's not good, he knows it. If it is good, he's very much aware and going to tell us all about it, which is perfect because I don't like to review shit.
his expertise comes to in social media, because as he was saying before, he has a video published with how many views now?
I don't know. 1.8 million.
something million views.
I don't know.
1,800,042 and 3/4 views. I don't know exactly.
You're on my lid, so that's what it's called. This is
Plugs.
Highland Park.
You
Fire
liar.
video,
It's 1.5 million.
Is it?
Is it? Yeah. And so that's how
You
we
gotta
kind of
beef up
all.
your numbers, man.
That's how we all fit together in
hoping
this
nobody was
perfect
gonna
storm. Perfect storm.
So,
anyway-
let's start it out. What do we use? Cameras,
yelling
film
at
and
my
hunts.
fucking
I want to get
microphone.
this. We're missing it.
All right,
wanna
so
get excited
film
at it.
film and hunts. I think we start off.
Everybody go. And number one thing, the first thing you need to know.
The first thing to me that you
think-
need to know, the first thing that I say to people when they send a message to me or our page, that when they ask us what kind of camera should, because that's usually the question you get is what kind of cameras do you guys use, or what kind of cameras should I use if I want to start filming my hunts? My first question is, why do you want to film your hunts? And that's not to be a dickhead or anything, but I'm just asking you, like, what is the reason? Are you doing this for fun? Are you like aspiring to have a serious YouTube channel? Because people can make really good money off of having a serious YouTube channel. Are you trying to have a TV show? What's your goals here? A lot of people most of the time are just like, well, I just want to film my hunts and put the videos on YouTube and maybe not start out so serious. So that's my question always is, why are you doing it? Because that's going to change my answer. Because if you're just doing it for fun.
Okay, so let's say they're doing it for fun. They just want to film their hunts, so
Show them to their friends. And
when their
Can
kids
Vixia.
grow up, they show them to all their friends, all
I'd
that.
say pick up a can of Vixia for a couple $100 like I started out with, and maybe a GoPro for that secondary angle.
So you're talking, what did that Vixio run? 300 maybe,
I think so.
and then a GoPro's another $100.
Yeah, you can get an older one online. You can go on. That's another thing too is you don't need to buy a brand new if you're starting out and you don't got a lot of money. Go on Facebook Marketplace and start looking up cameras. Even if you want to get into the more expensive cameras, you can find those cameras on Facebook.
Okay, now now we're gonna go the other way. Now they're seriously, they want to do something.
A serious YouTube channel.
They want to do a serious YouTube channel, or maybe do a show, get it on Carbon TV, and do something bigger than just showing their family.
I think then at that point you're going to go a step above the Vixias. We use Sony's, but I mean there's obviously other options.
Mm-hmm.
But they have like prosumer cameras. They're not professionals and they're not consumer anymore. They're in the middle somewhere. So you go into like the Sony AX100s that we have. That runs you about $1,500, brand new. And that was you got yours with a whole bunch of other stuff.
Yeah.
You can find those cameras online for cheaper from somebody who's started filming their hunts and decided it was stupid and they got out of it.
And B&H Photos also got a bunch of
B&H.
they do refurbished ones.
Yeah.
And then I saw a refurbished AX on there for $900.
Campbell cameras, I don't know, do they...
Rip off.
That's what I was going to say.
Yes.
I almost feel like I never saw anything on there that was super affordable to me.
It's a rip off.
Where are you going?
He thinks that because it's a wireless mic, he can just walk around the whole house.
I'll shut the door so the dog didn't get in the garbage.
It's the studio.
All right.
not-
I'm right here.
The studio, yeah.
I didn't go that far. Campbell's Cameras has everything you'll need.
Yeah,
Campbell's Cameras is where I used to go to find what I wanted to buy.
Right.
And then I would go buy it
Yeah,
elsewhere.
if you got the money to just dump on stuff, then
And
go
think
for it.
Camel's Cam, and they all come with these wraps and shit on them, and so they look really cool, like hunting style cameras. But all it is a Vixio with a Campbell wrap on it.
Unnecessary.
Yeah, they sell the AXs too. But yeah, so I think if you're serious, my opinion is, and something that I learned from John over here is that you need to get a good microphone as well.
Which we do not have yet.
Those
the shotgun.
the shotgun mics
Yeah,
are good.
shotguns are good. Yeah.
Those are pretty good. So you need a good shotgun mic. And let's be honest, we're probably talking here about deer hunting, filming our deer hunting. We film everything, but deer and turkey are probably the most popular things that people want to film.
Right, especially here in Michigan.
You're going to need a camera arm. And,
Might as well tell them which one to get.
I mean,
Yeah.
I would recommend nothing other than the Modern Assassin Reach by Out on a Limb. Because that's what we use.
I mean, here's the truth with it. Camera arms. I used the cheap one for a long time. We used the same one.
I used the Gorilla.
And so did I.
It was
They don't
like
make it
$40.
anymore.
I had a Muddy.
I had no I didn't really care about how much it sucked until I got a good one, until I got the one from out on a limb, and
Yeah.
I couldn't go back now.
No.
Well, and that's the thing is like, if you decide you want to film your hunts for fun or not, and you start doing it, and you find that you're decent at it, or people are actually enjoying what they're watching on your YouTube channel or wherever you're putting your content, you're going to eventually want to buy nicer things.
Yeah, do what you can afford to
So
start.
you can start off with a gorilla, and it'll get you by. It got us by for the first season of deer hunting, and
Yeah.
I mean, and then we just upgraded because it makes it easier for you.
Yeah, and a lot of this that we're talking is self-filming too.
Yeah.
If
We
you're-
pretty much self-film deer hunting, period.
for the most part. Yep.
Because there's 3 of us, deer season, we're all strapped for time, we all have jobs, and the chances of us having time that lines up together where we can go deer hunting and one person film and one person hunt, it's slim because we both
But
want to go deer
here's the
hunting.
other thing too. Let's face it. To spill the beans, we're still deer hunting in Michigan. None of us have a guarantee that like, oh, we've got this, 6 140s running around there, and I got this one patterned. No, we're all going out there to sit to try to kill something.
Yeah, we got to spread out.
And honestly, it's the better chances if one of us kills something, we're making an episode out of that, and we're trying to put out as much content as possible. So,
but with that self-filming, we've all taken. There's some precautions you got to take prior to season and during season to ensure that you can even get that on camera. So you got to pay attention to where you're putting your tree stand,
correct.
so that you can film where you think this deer is going to come from and get a shot. I'm right-handed. I put most of my tree stands facing away from where I'm expecting the deer to come, and I want the deer to come down on my left side so I can stay seated. My camera arm is about waist high, and it can turn. It will be right in front of me, facing to my left, so I can see what I'm doing. My bow is in my left hand. I'm controlling it with my right, so all I have to do is click my release on, draw, and kill.
Yeah.
It's worked for me so far. I haven't killed a ton of deer on self-film, but I've killed a few, and that's what I always try to do is have the deer set it up to where the deer comes from my left. Doesn't always work like that, obviously.
I've shot at deer on camera.
Yeah,
You did.
you did.
I've killed deer on camera too, but the camera's never seen me pointing at the deer anymore.
You shot your buck on camera.
I did.
Blind.
You need to put that out.
So, let's back up. What is your number one thing? The first thing that they should do, say Joe Blow comes out, says, I want to film my hunts. Where do I start?
If he for sure wants to film his hunts and he doesn't take my advice, which is you better be dang sure you're going to do it, otherwise do not do it. It's a money pit, and it's not as much. It's a lot of fun, but it's only fun because I like what we produce out of it.
Yeah.
The filming your hunts part sucks. You're carrying a bunch of extra weight.
Dude.
You got to get out in the tree extra early. It makes extra noise. It's extra scent. You need to pay attention.
My dad stares at me getting ready to go out, and he's just like,
my dad does too.
What are you doing? He's like, remember when you used to just have that little camo bag with your calls and like a snack? I was like, yep, I do remember that.
Now I carry a duffel bag out into the woods with me, and it's not fun.
I carry a frame pack to go deer hunting in Michigan.
But
And you're only going like 800 yards.
my biggest piece of advice is buy something. Stay in your budget.
Don't do that.
It's
He's chewing on my GoPro stick.
dog in the studio here. Especially when you're first starting out, you're not sure if you're gonna number one like it or number two be good enough to where you care to like it. Stay in your budget. Do not go out there and buy that $3,000 camera.
Mm-hmm.
It's just not. It's not going to be worth it in the long
No,
run.
definitely don't.
So like when I started filming in 2012 for myself. I had a little Canon Vixia. It was $800 at the time, but that was because that's how much any camera was then.
Right.
And it shot 1080 when 1080 just started being 1080. So, but I used that literally up until last year.
Yeah.
That was in my budget. That's what got me hired for Bracket. I sent him my little demo reel that I sent to him. Like it did the job. So
And
you can film things with those. So unless you're really thinking you're going to be the pro, or you want to be the pro, don't spend a whole bunch of money on it. Because I've seen a lot of people do it and they don't continue to film. It's a giant waste.
That's a great point, though, is that you wanted to get into the filming, hunting and fishing industry, hunting mostly. You used a cheapo now,
Yeah.
not then, but it's...
Well,
you
even
get-
then, compared to other cameras, it was a cheapo. It was
Right.
in my budget.
And you got away with getting a job with the footage that you filmed. So if it is something, if you're a young guy or whatever age you're at, if it is something that you'd like to break into, that kind of thing. Maybe you want to film some stuff to send out to some companies and build a resume up that way. And that's
Well,
not
even
something
that,
you
like-
can do that. You can get away with it.
If you go on our YouTube page right now and you look at our deer hunting episode on YouTube, not on Carbon, where this buck got shot and Dugan's deer got shot, it's all filmed with that camera. That camera's at the time 7 years old.
Yep.
8 years old.
Was it really?
Yeah.
Yeah, you're right. We
They
didn't
shot
have the
1080 still.
Yeah.
And I didn't
We
have
didn't
any
buy
of that.
the AX until turkey season.
John's on.
No.
John, you
I
see
bought it
John
on
on
my
a
way
GoPro holding that over my head. It's as big as my phone, but it shot HD. So that's my point. Is don't spend a ton of money. You don't need to. You can't get it done with the GoPro. Don't think you can.
You
can't
can't.
get it done with the Tacticam. You
See,
cannot.
That was my number one thing. Everyone
Run it then.
that comes and says, I want to start filming my hunts.
People usually say
There's
I
a guy
have
that we all know, and
Give
he's
me-
like,
give me a,
I can't wait to put all these deer down there in
one
gun
of those
season.
millers.
I'm gonna get a GoPro. Don't do it. Tacticam. Don't
That's
do
what
it.
that's
Do
what
not do
I
it.
said. That's
You-
what I said.
You do need a
It's a
GoPro.
frozen beer.
You do need a GoPro if you're gonna help. If you're gonna.
Yes.
Is that a freezer?
No, this one's not frozen.
Oh, you do need a GoPro if you're gonna film them
It's a slushy.
to try to put together a YouTube page. You need to film your hunts. You need to have a GoPro
Yeah.
for sure, but you cannot get away with a GoPro alone. If you have only enough for one, if your budget allows you for one camera, it needs to be a 1080 camera,
Chunky,
like a Vixia. That's
chunky
it.
beer.
You're
Another thing, sidebarring.
Yeah, squeeze it to get it out. Go ahead. sorry.
Everybody also, and okay, if you're gonna buy a DSLR because you want to be able to take pictures of your family and your baby and stuff, okay, that is also not adequate in deer season.
not for
If-
self-filming.
No,
you're not.
you cannot self-film
You're not
with a DSLR.
self-filming
It's
filming with a DSLR.
I mean, you could do it, but it's not easy.
No, I did it last year and it sucked.
Yeah, I tried it
still
for a
do
year,
it
too.
because I don't have an AX yet, and it sucks. Do not get a DSLR to film your deer hunts.
They are good if you want to go big next level. They're awesome cameras and necessary to have for certain things.
For sure.
But you do not see anybody. I don't want to say anybody. There are some shows that do strictly use them, but they have professional cameramen. That's what they use. That's their baby.
Yeah.
They know exactly how it works in and out.
Mhm.
If you ain't that guy, which I'm telling you right now, if you're listening to this podcast, you're probably not.
No.
Don't do it.
Wow, way to insult our listeners.
I'm insulting all of you.
So right now,
I'm insulting myself.
So
I can't do it.
I think that touch on what you were saying is, to me, the Canon Vixia. Go online and get yourself a used GoPro. You need one.
You do need one.
I think even if you're just making cool YouTube videos or you're trying to make short videos, 30-second clips for your Instagram channel or your TikTok, whatever the hell you want to put it on, yeah, I think that the only way to make it, otherwise all you're doing is filming another kill shot, and that's there's a million kill shots I
Yep.
can go on and look. It just gives you a cool another thing to look at.
And
It's
I'm gonna
just
tell you
a
right now,
different angle.
if you're just starting out with the self-filming game, and that big buck walks by, you know what you're not gonna do?
You're not
follow
filming it.
that bad boy all the way with that camera.
Hell
it
no,
ain't
you're not.
happening.
nope.
No,
Like
so
that
if you
buck
had that
you and I
GoPro
filmed,
and
never would have got him.
if you go on that, if you have a GoPro, you have a different angle. You have two angles going.
Watch our YouTube video. That's a
Tacticam-
good episode of it.
I
Yeah.
think Tacticam is, to me, they're very expensive. They're similar to the GoPro interface, so they're gonna have the same like zoom capabilities or lack
No, they got a
thereof.
better zoom.
They do have
I
new-
think
They-
that
they got a good
they
zoom
have
on
they
them.
have them now.
the advantage with Tacticam is they're designed with outdoorsmen in mind.
And you can
GoPro is
get
not.
multiple.
Yeah.
I like that you
Yes.
can put. I like Tacticam. I wouldn't discard Tacticam if you have the money to spend on Tacticam because they have. I mean, you can set up as many cameras as you want and have one remote, and you hit the button and it turns all of them on. Which you can kind of do that with GoPro, but with your phone. But sometimes it doesn't work.
If I was to start buying more secondary angle cameras, I think I'm going Tacticam.
See, I don't.
Yes.
I don't. I go GoPro.
Really?
The GoPro battery sucks.
The
It's
GoPro
terrible,
batteries
yeah.
are terrible.
And
They are
don't- and
terrible.
if it's cold, dude, you
Yeah, they
can't
die.
film a late
They're-
season.
they're
hunt.
done.
No.
They suck.
Because the main thing, well, we're getting into something completely different, but
I like the slushy.
I've been just filming
It's
a
a
whole
foam
bunch, so I like to be able to use the GoPro. I'm managing the record time, so in the batteries and stuff, because whatever. But if you're gonna sell film, you need something with a good battery life.
Got a spoon?
Tacticam's it. But you do not buy just a Tacticam. That should not be your first purchase.
Yeah, not just
Buy-
one.
buy a Handycam.
Buy a
Your
Handycam.
first-
That's
don't
your
even
first
think
purchase
about,
for
if
sure.
you don't have a camera that's not a DSLR, don't even think about a Tacticam or a GoPro yet. That should not be your first purchase.
No, definitely not. And then there's other brands. I don't know if Garmin still makes the Verbs or not, but if they don't, then they're going to be cheap because they're
Yeah.
old now. Garmin Verbs were sweet. They had a viewing screen on them. They had some zoom on them, and they were waterproof and everything else. They're badass little cameras. They're super cool. That's all we use. I mean, Bracket was sponsored by Garmin at the time, but they were awesome little cameras. I know Chip still uses them,
Does he?
but he also hates GoPro.
Why?
So, because they're not field user friendly. They're just not.
We're getting this on. All right, number two. My number two thing is if you're going to film your hunts, you better have a way to edit it. Because I can tell you right now, you're going to have a lot of dead stuff. And my number two, so all the design of an episode and like what you're going to film and all the stuff, like B-roll shit, that's going to come just naturally. You're going to learn like, oh, I need more of this stuff. So I wouldn't even worry about like, oh, know how to film and all this and that.
Don't take the class.
Number two, don't take a class. You'll figure it out. Just watch enough hunting shows. But number two comes into editing software for me. And I will be biased and say, if you don't have a Mac, then almost don't even buy that camera yet. Because you need a Mac to edit any kind of anything.
Yep.
Because you're going to spend $1,000 on this machine, which is going to edit all your footage, but it has the capability to be upgraded into a better machine with different software, but it comes standard. Our whole first season 0 was filmed with iMovie, which comes standard on a Mac.
I love Final Cut, and it's done. It's awesome.
Mm-hmm.
There's nothing.
But if you get a Mac, you got Final Cut, and if you're just doing some like beginner stuff, then do iMovie.
You got
It's
iMovie.
free.
Yeah, man, and iMovie has come a long way from when I first started using it. Man.
iMovie,
you can do a lot on iMovie
because they're the same man. Essentially, iMovie. So we use Final Cut Pro X, which is almost like your top dogs are using.
It's definitely professional grade.
It is professional grade, but your top dogs are
If
using
you're using
Adobe
on
Premiere.
Microsoft, it's Adobe Premiere or
No, even Mac users.
really?
Top dogs are using Adobe.
Nope.
Not anymore.
Who?
Nope. What are they
Everybody
using?
I know, Cheslock, the kid from Minnesota, it's what he does. He's a producer for all his shows. He only uses Final Cut now.
Really?
Chip still uses Adobe.
I was going to
So,
say he uses Adobe.
But it's pretty 50-50 now in the field. It switched.
So
Final Cut's coming up.
okay, so it is a pro, but either way, Adobe.
Now, why do you recommend a Mac over a PC though? Because you can get Adobe for a PC.
Yeah, because Adobe is a very. There are people. Okay, so
More expensive, isn't it?
you can go on and loot. Well, Adobe is a sub base now. You can't buy it. You got to pay for it $50 a month. But so when you're talking about iMovie, super user friendly. You can literally how you just started editing your first ever footage pretty much beginning of this year, starting off on iMovie, right? I mean, you farted around with like fire.
that video
Right.
of Eddie's first hunt.
Right, but then you go.
Yeah.
So then you go from that,
was like the
which is a
basic
free
trailer.
software, and then you go pay $500 to get, Final Cut, and it's the same exact software. Essentially, it works exactly the same. If you try to put Adobe on your computer and Joe Blow off the street was like, okay, come, throw these two video clips together. Not happening. I guarantee it. It takes people who are good with Adobe products have degrees with Adobe products. What are you doing?
Take a picture of the ducks. I'm
What
listening.
is he doing?
So like the guy that makes our motion graphics and stuff like that, he's got like a 6-year
that was a
degree
girl.
using Adobe products.
I thought that was a girl.
No, she did our tidbits,
Oh.
and she's just good at doing that. She just learned how to do it, just because of the
You're
business.
still
But
on camera, right? You look like an idiot.
you
That's
look
fine.
you look stupid,
Listen, what you're telling me right now, I already know we do the same thing. We don't use it.
and so you're just fucking taking pictures of your wood duck.
I haven't promoted Jake
So-
Sexton's Hideaway Waterfowl yet. Look how good that mount looks. Are you kidding me?
does.
That thing
It
is
does
sexy
look
as
good.
hell.
Anyway, I would definitely the Mac
I do too. I recommend a Mac to anybody who's doing it.
because their editing software. They're all going to have similarities to it. It's free. Your entry line iMovie is free with the any
you do
Mac
a lot
purchase.
of cool stuff on iMovie.
And they're awesome. And then you're going to start getting into like audio recording and different compression rates. A laptop like this, you got 4K display, all that stuff comes built
Yeah, I mean,
in.
I do a lot of my editing on my MacBook Pro.
I do all mine right here.
I have an iMac desktop at home that was way too expensive, and the kids watch YouTube videos on it all day. But I do a lot of editing at when I'm at the firehouse. You know, if I have to finish something up, I throw it on the hard drive and put it on the MacBook Pro.
Yeah, I do all mine on the Pro too.
And aside from the screen being smaller,
Will you tighten up?
the only thing that's better about the iMac is definitely faster. Everything renders quicker.
That's got a Core i7.
And the screen is this big, so I can have like all kinds of shit in front of my face.
Yeah, it's got like 16 gigs of RAM.
5K display.
Yeah.
Whereas this, it's smaller, so I prefer to use that. But most of the stuff gets done on this because when I'm at home, my baby's screaming at
So
me.
I will say, software that comes with a machine. So right here, you could see how many episodes did I edit? 4? 3? 3 this season, and then pretty much all of season 0 except for 2 were all edited on this. This is a MacBook Air. Like, we're talking like maybe 200 gigs of space on this thing.
How old is it?
It's like 4 or 5 years old.
Yeah, Johnny's.
Yeah, but like you're saying,
And it's low. It's a shitty computer.
And again,
it's
you can get a used MacBook on Facebook Marketplace
with iMovie.
like,
this
for
was
not a lot of money.
This was brand new out of the box, $899.
Yeah.
And
You
right
can get
now, if you get one of these used, you can probably get it. For
I had
$400.
So if you
a-
can get that for $400, you can get a Canon Vixia for $300. You are talking, and you can get a GoPro for $2. You can have everything you need to film and edit on
$100,000.
for under $1,000.
Yeah, and you don't
Yep.
absolutely need the GoPro. I just highly recommend.
But you need a camera arm, and
Right.
you need spend a little bit extra money on that. I'm gonna recommend that. You don't
check,
have to.
check out on
Auto Limb makes a pretty badass one.
Yeah, we really like what he produced.
Don't get that. Get the fluid head from him because the ones that you're going to
spend the
get
money on the fluid head.
are.
This is the one time that I researched the shit out of something and I ended up buying something.
We did rush it though. We didn't. You didn't get your normal 2 months
Yeah.
research
No.
time. This
It
is
was-
we did.
2 months.
It was a
research
good.
time.
It was. It's a good fluid head, but it's not.
It'll be
too
good.
good.
It'll be
So-
good on the tripod for turkey season.
Yeah.
It's not good on that. But
So, I think the basics, like we're going back to the basics. You got a Canon Vixia starting you out. Get yourself a decent computer that you can edit on because you're going to need that.
Oh no. Anyway.
And I recommend a GoPro. Now you want to get into the bigger stuff. Now let's say your stuff is taken off. You're doing really well with this YouTube stuff.
You're sponsored by ScentLock.
Social media is a big part of it. If you want people to see your stuff, you have all these social media companies are working together. Facebook, Instagram, they're owned by the same company. I think they're all probably somehow owned by somebody.
yeah,
YouTube, TikTok now. Everything is all twined together. And you have to be able to, if you want people coming to your YouTube page to see what you're putting on YouTube, you got to have somewhat of social media presence. So now you got to make little short clips.
What was that last
for your
word?
Instagram.
Did you say presidents?
Presence.
Presence.
Social media presence.
Got it.
Presence.
That's what you
And
said.
so, then you're going on a different road. But let's say you're getting good. Things are going good. You like what you're doing. You're enjoying it. You want to upgrade. Like we talked about in the beginning of the show, I really like the Sony AX100s. And I started researching the Sony AX100s because I sent a message to Mark Kenyon. And I was like, what do you use? Because I watched a bunch of his old YouTube videos before he worked for MeatEater. And he told me he uses that one, the one that we're using now. And I already researched. What happened?
Why is it so frozen?
I don't know why it's so frozen.
So I researched the shit out of those and researched the shit out of all the ones that were comparable to it. And then got into that. And then comes along Kyle Green and his Carbon TV push for us. And he's like, you guys need to get a DSLR. And at that point, we had a need for a DSLR.
We needed one then.
And why?
Mm-hmm.
To me, I never even thought about it. But it just does something different. And I don't know the technical terms because, like I said, I'm clueless with this shit.
So
but I noticed when I look at it, it looks completely different.
Essentially, the way that this is being filmed on is the AX100, which is just a handy cam, is what we're going to call it.
Prosumer handicap.
A prosumer handy cam. So the same thing would be a Vixia. What that camera wants to do
The Vixia is more of a consumer.
is
It's a prosumer.
that camera wants this much space to be in focus. So it wants everything to be in focus. If it can't put everything in focus, it tries to split the difference between what's way back here and what's right here in
You
front
can
of the
see it
camera.
on the viewfinder right now, what's peaked in the camera, what's in focus. This cord's in focus, and these mounts are all in focus right now. That's a big space.
Yeah, so it's putting everything in focus. Now what a DSLR does is it's meant to take pictures. So it's meant to be able to focus in on one object and make that just crystal clear. It doesn't care about what's in front of it, doesn't care about what's behind it. It wants that object crystal clear. So what we do is now we got a couple of cameras that shoot 4K as a DSLR, and that is just used for, as you can see, like if you watch our stuff, when we're sitting in front of a camera talking about a hunt, or we're doing, it's called a spine, where we're actually in the field, maybe talking about what we're about to do.
Interview portion.
Anytime that we're
Cutaway.
talking to the cameras, it's going to be done with a DSLR because we want our face as the focal point. There's really doesn't care what's going on behind us. There's not birds flying around, nothing like that. But what it also makes this cool backdrop.
Around our heads.
It makes this cool backdrop where it's super blurry back there, and everything just brings your focus right to the person that you're trying to focus on, essentially, and nothing else. It's super, super clean, super crisp.
That's a professional level thing.
That's stuff like so.
Now you're talking about f-stops, you're talking about aperture, you're talking about a whole bunch of other stuff that you're not going to worry about if you're listening to this podcast.
And that's why we're saying don't get one to self-film your deer hunts with, because
You got to take all that into consideration when you're trying to film that
it's
deer.
a lot harder with this AX 100 professional consumer-based camera. I mean, you can hit auto everything, because when you got that buck that you've been chasing all year for the last 3 years coming in, you do not want to be messing with the focus. That stuff's for when you're filming B-roll.
It's not when you're not. It's not you don't want to be messing with it. You're not
going to.
You don't have
You
to.
are
So you're
not
going to
going
risk
to.
getting a shit shot because you.
Right.
So with this camera that we're filming on right now, it's I leave it on auto everything, and it's auto everything. Right. The only time that thing's off auto is if I'm screwing around filming B-roll stuff, or I've gone out and scouted in the summertime, and I've sat and I've messed around with settings while filming deer that I wasn't shooting because it wasn't season, so I had time to play around. But if you have that DSLR, even if you do want to mess with all that stuff, this has everything right here, right next to where your fingers need it to be. The DSLR, everything kind of can be spread out. You almost have to have two hands.
You need
if you're going to run a manual focus on a camera, you have to have a cameraman.
Yeah.
Like if we're filming each other, I run manual always.
Always.
I hate autofocus, but when you're filming yourself, you don't have much of a choice.
Right.
But if I'm filming John or you, then I'm putting it on manual and I'm running it. Especially if, I know we're mainly talking deer, but if I'm filming turkeys coming through the grasses or waterfowl, in and out of the clouds,
is worse.
Waterfowl's tough, man. Your camera will go in and out of focus
Yeah,
all
I can
day
only
against the
imagine.
backdrop.
Yep.
The DSLR, and they're awesome. They're awesome what you have, because you can use them. Now you take a guy out into the field to hunt like turkeys or whatever, and you got a cameraman who's a dedicated cameraman. Or even if you're by yourself, I've taken both cameras with me by myself, and there's some stuff
That's a pain in the ass.
Yeah, it is a pain in the ass. Trust me, it's more weight, more stuff. But now you have, even on the field, you're filming. I like to use that DSLR for close-up stuff. Guy walking through the field, or checking the trail cameras, or ejecting a shell from the gun, or stuff like that, because it gives you such a crisp, beautiful image.
And what that does is it blurs the background. All it does is
bee landing on a flower.
It brings the focal point to one thing. When you're watching this on Carbon TV, you're going to be looking at everything. You're going to see that love up there, the cocktails. That's all. These glasses are all in focus.
Lions.
But if this were filmed with a DSLR, you wouldn't even notice that, because this would all be super blurry back here.
And we're not filming with our DSLR because we haven't figured out how to get it to stop shutting off after.
And it turns off after 30 minutes.
Even when it's plugged in.
That's stupid.
It's a setting that we just haven't figured out yet because we're amateurs.
Yeah.
I think that another thing that you can get into that me personally that I really like, and I think...
Hold on. I'm going to cut you off because I'm still on the subject of cameras real quick. Yeah. Shut up.
Fine.
Where I get the question a lot is the difference. Okay, a 720, 1080, 4K, 5K, and then we're talking 400 or 4080
8K stuff now.
8K stuff, which is awesome. If you're doing this just to start out, 1080p is all you need. That's it. Just
Yeah, really,
1080.
honestly.
Because 4K, everyone's like, oh, 4K, it means it's better. Okay, but here's the problem. If you get a camera that is filming in 4K, you're losing a lot of frame rate, especially if it's a cheap camera. You know, if you see a $1,000 camera that's a 1080 camera, and then you see a $1,000 camera that's a 4K, that the $1,080 camera is actually better because you have more frame rate, especially during bow season. What that's going to do is capture that arrow in slow motion, and it's going to look very smooth.
In 1080.
In 1080, very smooth. If you did that same shot with a 4K camera,
right?
well, I mean, at 1080, you could be
60.
recording at 60.
But
which
the
is
4K,
fine.
isn't the 4K like normally drops it down to like 20?
4K, it's going to cut that frame rate in half, especially, and it's not always, different cameras, obviously. We got cameras that'll record 4K at 120.
Right, right.
But
This
that's
one
a
does 60, I
$3,000
believe,
camera.
doesn't it?
60.
This does 60, yeah. But, you know, you're spending
A lot of
$800
money.
for a camera, and one's 1080, one's 4K. They're both $800. Go with the 1080 because your frame rate at a beginning stage means a lot more to you than resolution. That's my opinion.
Fair enough.
Because
I
everything's
can't
going to be
argue with that.
1080 anyway. You're not really going to be running 4K.
I don't know enough to argue with that.
Yeah.
No, I mean, it makes total sense.
Anyway, that's my only gripe. Everything in 1080.
The DSLRs are sweet because to me, the DSLRs have come in key for us with our social media stuff because we've really been able to up our game with what we post on our Instagram for photos, which goes to our Facebook, and the DSLR camera, rather than having, it was all iPhone pictures before, which iPhone does a really good job, but there's something that camera does that the iPhone does.
It's the aperture. That's all.
And you just get beautiful, crisp, beautiful pictures. And if you're trying to make your pages known, that's what you need. You need to be able to.
Our sponsors
manage
really love it.
You need to be able to manage a social media page and
We don't have
push
any
your
sponsors.
stuff. Another thing that I like, if you are getting into doing more of a serious YouTube page, or you're trying for Carbon TV or something else, I think a drone is a good investment to have. I mean, it's something that's far down the road. It's not something you need to have. It's not something that you should be jumping for. But if you can do it, and I think a drone's a great investment because you can get some awesome.
I will say that maybe a drone, because
Drone's a big thing.
with the availability, regardless of the cost, with the availability of the drone, who's breathing into the microphone? So with the availability of the drone, you can buy a drone now for like $300.
Yeah,
and
you can get a Spark for $400,
which is awesome. But you've got to be careful because now we're talking legal stuff.
Yeah,
If you were to ever make $1 from any of your videos,
you have to be licensed.
you have to be licensed.
Which a lot of that stuff is. There's a bunch of different things going on in the drone world that I used to pay attention to that I don't anymore. But like laws are changing, and they're getting stricter.
Yeah.
Am I talking the wrong way?
Yeah, here you go.
So a drone it's a bigger thing than just buying something that films. You have to, you got to know how to use it. And I promise you, the first time you fly your $1,000 drone, you are going to be pooping your pants. I was absolutely terrified every time I lifted that thing off the ground for a good couple of months.
Yeah.
I got insurance on mine so that if I crashed it, it would be covered. You're going to crash it. You're going to hit something. I mean, look, when we were filming that duck hunt,
Dude.
I almost ran it into a tree, and I was watching it.
You almost hit it when we were out ice fishing.
Yeah.
On Whitmore Lake. You almost ran it into power lines.
Yeah, and I almost got hit by ducks, almost ran into it while we were out there.
That's true.
We were using it after we were done hunting. That's another thing, because you can't use it during.
Yeah, and you got to be
during
careful,
hunts.
especially if, God forbid you're in Colorado or
There are
something.
states that literally won't
Yeah.
let you use a drone within 24 hours of hunting.
Yep,
Or fly anything.
right.
Michigan isn't one of those, but you're not allowed to use a drone to manipulate wildlife or use it to your advantage for hunting. So, and the only thing we've ever done with it is it's always, pretty much always after shots.
Yeah.
Walkaways, stuff like that. But I think a drone is something cool. It's something cool, and I guess I could probably dumb down that a little bit. You don't really need a drone. It is something cool.
You got to be careful though, man. You see a lot of these edits, and they use way too much
drone shots.
It gets super annoying.
But like John said, you can get a Spark from DJI for $400. They might be cheaper than $400 now. The Mavic Pros drones are easy. They're pretty easy to use. Like once you figure it out, you're like, oh, they're almost. I mean, they do everything themselves. You're not really controlling much. You're just directional. They got sensors that stop them from. Pretty easy to use, but it's just another tool in your toolbox that you can use.
But no, know your laws, man, because I don't want to see anybody get jammed up. Like, oh yeah, this is me walking out to my hunt. You know, God forbid you got a fucking drone flying over you and
get insurance. Get insurance on it too.
Don't do that,
because if you do something with that drone that hurts somebody or hits somebody or even you just crash it. The Greenway guys were filming with their drone in Hawaii and it just flew away. It literally just flew away into the ocean. And they couldn't do anything about it. And mine has flown away. It's never flown away. Knock on wood. Is that wood?
Sure.
Looks like wood. Mm-hmm. It's never like gone, but it has started to go, and I'm like, what is it doing? I'm not touching anything. It's just disappearing, and then it stopped. Thank God. But theirs didn't. It just flew off the abyss.
She got
It's back in California.
Good thing they had they already got their footage off of it.
That's funny.
Yeah, so I mean that's just another little added one.
There's a lot of little things that you can pick and nitpick at all day. The basics of it is stay in your budget. If you're just starting out, even if you think you're going pro,
find out if you like it.
Get a Vixia and start for a year. Film something simple. Ground blinds are your friends.
Yeah, and I think it's cool that and that's another thing you must know, that there are a million other people that are just like you that are trying to film their hunts.
Let's just say just like us.
Yeah. Just like us.
You know what? If you have any tips for us,
we got really lucky. And went from filming stuff for YouTube to filming stuff for an actual TV network, which is neat. I mean, it's awesome. We got lucky as hell. It's neat. It's really neat. But that said,
still aren't making any money on it.
No, we're still not. That's another thing.
And
don't expect to make money off of it real quick. When you see all these guys, we talked about this in the last one. When you see all these guys repping all these companies, you probably think I want to make money like they are for hunting. No. They're not. Most people are not making money off of it.
When you go to the ATA show, I've been there. I've met all them idiots. Maybe, I bet it's less than a dozen make a living off of it. Out of all the TV shows, it's less than 10. It's less than 12.
You get to a point. There's a point where people do make the money, but chances are you're probably not going to make money. You might get some discounts. You might get some free stuff. You might just have fun doing it.
You might make
that's kind of what we're doing.
But
you might make a little bit of money too. But that goes back to my number one question is, why are you doing it? Do you want to do it to make money?
Wouldn't recommend it.
I wouldn't recommend it. I wouldn't.
I'm telling you, if you're not on the Outdoor Channel and you're not one of the top shows on it, you're not. The odds of you making money.
No.
And those are $10,000 an episode. And you have to put out 13 episodes.
Yeah, that's another thing is people don't realize you're
deadlines.
Paying them to get your show on there.
Yeah, if you're on TV, you paid to be on it.
Yeah, you pay money to have your show on
10,000 an episode for Outdoor Channel. I don't know. Sportsman's like 8,000.
So now you have to get companies. That's where you're getting your sponsors to cover those dollar amounts. But you got to be that good to get there, and that's
you got to have a niche that there's not many left in the outdoor industry.
Nope, because there's a ton of people that are trying to do it, and we're all getting censored like crazy.
Oh, yeah. Bad.
Like,
good luck.
Censored like crazy. We get stuff censored on Instagram all the time. We started a TikTok page just to get our. I guess it's what all the kids are doing now. So, they take down our videos, like one every third video we put up, it gets removed.
Every single one of them that I've put up has been taken down, except for the first one that I did. I don't get it because there's no guns involved, but there's like 40 geese dying, like right now. Boom, 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 boom. They're all hitting the ground.
They didn't watch it long enough.
Yeah, and then they're like, well, no, that's fine. Yeah, and then we get one that like.
We did the video of Nico doing the challenge with the axe that got taken down. It doesn't have anything to do with it. Yeah, twice. I uploaded it again and it got taken down again.
We got
right away.
We got 40 geese dying.
So know that going into it, censoring the people are censoring. But that said, I think that if the more people that are
stop yelling, dude. We're right here.
I always forget. I don't think there's anything wrong. Like, I don't say, oh, there's a million people doing this to deter you from doing it. I think it's cool.
Yeah, keep
for
it going.
anybody. You want to? I enjoy it. I enjoy watching other people's content.
Just be a positive.
Be a positive influence on the sport of hunting.
Don't go out there and film your hunt and you shove your head in the deer's cavity after you killed it and be covered in blood. I'm telling you, man, people do stupid things.
Another thing,
don't be that guy.
I will say, boomity boom. Another thing that if you're serious, if you're doing this, like Scott said, if you're doing this because you want to do a serious page or you want to get on some kind of network or something.
YouTubers make good money.
Right.
If you got a good page.
Even, got a great YouTube page. Here's the thing, though. If you got that, can I say it? Can I say it?
Can I say it? Say whatever you want.
You can't do it alone. You can't do it by yourself. I don't think you can run
not
a successful...
Not in the hunting industry, I don't
No.
think.
If you started 10 years ago, you could.
I don't think you can do it by
Hunting?
yourself at all.
Tough now.
Not in the hunting game. Not in the outdoor
I
game.
don't think in anything. Look, any serious YouTuber.
Video games is about the only thing you can do by yourself.
Nope, I don't even think you don't do that by yourself.
Outdoor games, you can't do it by yourself. What we're talking about, you can't. I don't think you can do it solo.
Like, you can't do a comedy page. You can't be a comedian and do it by yourself. No, you can't do it.
What do you mean by do it by yourself?
Like, you don't have a partner, somebody that helps you edit, somebody that helps you shoot. Even a camera guy or like something. You need somebody that wants to do it with you.
Yeah.
At least one guy.
I think my last little piece of advice would be to ask questions. We giggle about we don't know what we're talking about, and that's because we don't. But if you ask us a question, we either have the answer or I'll find out.
Yeah.
And when I don't know, I ask questions. I've sent a lot of messages to a lot of people way smarter than me.
And this is how we figured it out,
touch.
too. Like you're saying, you talked to Mark Kenyon, like, what are you using?
Yeah,
we got
he answered
Kyle
me back.
Green.
And a lot of people aren't going to answer you back. 'Cause
No.
it's busy, man.
He answered me on that question. I have sent him other questions, and he did not answer me back. I don't hold any bad feelings for him. He's got 80,000 followers.
So find the right people that you can talk to, and somebody will answer you back and answer your question. And if not, Google is your friend.
I think that my one last piece of advice, if you are not into hunting and you want to film your fishing stuff, just get some GoPros.
GoPros.
You can get away with GoPros all day long for fishing because everything, especially if you're fishing off a boat, everything's right there. You can put GoPros underwater, get cool shots. We went out fishing last year, did some muskie fishing, and we took all our cameras, and we only really used the GoPro for everything. And you can honestly if you're just doing fishing stuff, you really want to film your fishing, which is another good niche. A lot of people like watching fishing videos.
Let me tell you also, if you want to do like a serious fishing page, invest in a 2-track or some kind of recording with a microphone because their microphones are shit on the GoPro.
Oh, yeah.
So,
You need
like,
audio is important if you think you're going to be important.
Yeah,
that's for sure.
That's true. That's why our next podcast, I hope to have better shit because I'm so tired of
Don't write
this.
checks your ass can't catch, buddy.
I'm
tired of this.
By Christmas time.
Tired of this. By next podcast, you watch.
Okay.
All right. Well, tell Dilly to give
We
me
better
paid.
start finding some used.
Dilly owes me money because I've been working.
So we got. So that's it
off.
that's all I got for.
That's it, man.
Filming stuff. Again, disclaimer: we're beginners too. We're average, amateur, Joe Schmoes who don't know shit about shit. We just been doing it for a little while, and
just because we're losers doesn't mean you shouldn't come see us at the Outdoorama.
Oh yeah, we got the Outdoorama coming up in Michigan in Novi, the Suburban Showplace Collection. We will be across the hallway from Tethered.
Yeah,
we're gonna be
a big attraction.
Okay,
John Eberhart.
We're gonna be in
RFO Outfitters.
We're gonna be in the easternmost, on the east side, all the way almost to the northeast corner. That's us.
We'll have the coolest booth.
We'll be posting our
little map, our
map
location.
on coming up here in a couple of weeks, and then we would love to see you come out and hang out with us. We'll be staying there all weekend, so if you're there late, have some beers with us. I plan on trying to do a couple podcasts while we're there.
Yeah,
we're gonna do a podcast in the booth
for sure.
That's what I'm saying.
Boom, live podcast.
So, Carbon TV. If you don't have the app, if you're listening on iTunes or whatever you listen on, go download the app. You can watch this on the app. Fire Stick, Roku, phone, tablet, computer, whatever you want. It's free. It's like Netflix, but it's free, and it's all outdoor stuff. So if you like the outdoor stuff,
and I'm on there.
And I'm on there. And John's not.
All of this.
We're gonna be hopefully getting into some. I'd like to start filming some new episodes, but we have no ice to ice fish. There are no birds to bird.
Might be a lot of turkey stuff coming on the next season.
Holy shit! Yeah, you guys are gonna get turkey blasted.
Yeah. So we hope
See you in
you
a couple
enjoy
weeks.
the show.
I gotta go potty. Bye.
Click. Boop. Yeah, I like that.